Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I was wondering where the Russian fleet is because 9 vessels in the Mediterranean Sea, 11 vessels or warships in the Black Sea, 3 in the Sea of Azov. That's nothing. Where is the rest? Well, part of them are in the Baltic Sea. And why is that? That is because they are conducting a military exercise in the Baltic Sea. People not familiar with where the Baltic Sea is, it is somewhere around Lithuania, Poland, Kaliningrad, that area, you know what I mean? You got Denmark, you got Sweden. Interesting. It's kind of like where the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 were blown up by we don't know who. We do know. You know how we know? We don't find out. So when we don't find out, that means the truth is uncomfortable, politically incorrect. Like the Kennedy assassination. Oh, it's Oswald. Okay. So, Ukrainska Pravda reports in December 16th, 2022. Russia starts extensive Baltic fleet exercises. I wonder why. The command staff exercise involving more than 1,500 servicemen, over 10 combat vessels and aircraft started in Kaliningrad Oblast of the Russian Federation. The source is the Russian news outlet Interfax, citing the press service of the Baltic Fleet of the Russian Federation. It is stated that, and I'm quoting, tactical groups of ships will leave their bases at the appointed time and deploy forces of the fleet in the appointed directions of the Baltic Sea in order to carry out exercise tasks. What the tasks would be? I don't know. Within the framework of the exercise, the vessel groups of the Baltic naval base will perform, and I'm quoting, practical missile attacks and artillery shelling for hitting ships and aircraft of a nominal enemy, and quote, during the exercise. In addition, soldiers of the unit for defending against underwater sabotage forces and means will carry out tasks of protecting vessels and submarines of the Baltic Sea Fleet and the base from sabotage and reconnaissance groups of the nominal enemy. Operators of the BAL and Bastion coastal missile systems will destroy sea targets on the shore of Kaliningrad Oblast. All this is reported by the press services of the fleet. Moreover, the vessel group have to work through joint swimming in a single marching order, repelling air attacks of a nominal enemy with shooting at air targets and conducting a training naval battle. Reminder, all this is happening against the background of the Russian Federation's war against Ukraine and the statements of Ukrainian officials about the possibility of a new Russian offensive on Kiev at the beginning of 2023. Okay, so the Russians are getting ready for what? I don't know, for war. With whom? As you might know, Ukraine doesn't have access to the Baltic Sea. All they have access is the Black Sea. And the Black Sea, they're blocked by the Russians, and they block themselves by mining the shit out of their southern coast, which is Odessa and other little ports over there. So who are the Russians practicing against, you might ask? I don't think it's Denmark, I don't think it's Sweden, I think it's the Poles, and I think it's the Lithuanians. Those, may I say, jackal states that are yapping around while at the shade, or the shade, I think, of the big lion, which is the United States of America. The puppeteer, the ones that pulls the strings in the Middle East, in Korea, in Taiwan, in Kosovo, and anywhere you look around and there's a problem, you find the Americans helping and promoting freedom, justice, love, and happiness and perfection. Anyway, you know how this bullshit goes. So obviously, if the Russians are doing that, are doing it for, I would say, a few reasons. One is to make sure that Poles and the Lithuanians and the other Baltic states get the message, which is, we're gonna fuck you up if you keep your mouth open one way or another. Just make your move. The Russians will not attack them, they will counter. And because if you look at the Russian invasion and all that, they are reacting to something, even though the Americans and all these weasels here tell us unprovoked. Well, you know how it is, unprovoked. You have to ask the other party and say, hey, Gigi, why do you do this? Because I think it's unprovoked. And Gigi will say, well, I start doing this because you did this, because you did that, and then you did that, and then you did that, and again you did that. So I gave you 5 reasons why you provoked me into punching you in the face. Oh, okay. All right, how can we change that? Let's sit down and talk. Well, that would be in a normal, civilized way of seeing things and acting. In this way, no, because Russia has to be kneeled. And unfortunately for the weasels who tried to kneel Russia, the Russia did not disintegrate yet. And I don't foresee that happening. And even if Putin and the guys in charge over there, let's say, will be hanged like the Nuremberg trials, okay? Even though I think Putin and he left a legacy of some kind of Russians, and that would be hard to extinguish even with the Western propaganda that keeps fucking us here every day, which is losing your identity, losing your national pride, and accepting other kind of pride and other perversions. Well, the problem is the same with Hitler-Jugend, with what Adolf did. He created a generation that you might think, oh, it's indoctrinated. Yeah, okay, indoctrinated with some values or certain kind of ideals that are not compatible with perverted ideals that are pushed nowadays. So same thing with Putin. Yeah, Putin is going to go away sooner or later, forced or just, with help of the providence or gods or whomever you want. Nevertheless, the younger generation already lived under a system that indoctrinated them with certain kind of values. Love of their nation, love of their tradition, love of their country, love of their Mother Russia. And it's going to be hard to switch it. It's like, for instance, your child that you take to church every morning and you go into the, how do you call those little schools, Catholic school. You get them over there, they will be indoctrinated with that kind of dogmatic thought. And it's going to be harder for that person to, for instance, break away from that. So it's always going to be that, influence that they got as children. That's why it's that saying that in the first 7 years of life, whatever you were instilled with, that's going to be you for the rest of your life, more or less. So yeah, you can kill this guy as the other guy was killed, or he killed himself actually, right? And it's the ideal is what you have inside, what was poured inside your soul, inside your mind, inside your being. So we'll see. We'll see why these guys are not going to attack first here in the Baltic Sea. I think they just do it for, a little provocation. Hey, we're here and we get ready if in case you do something stupid. So those would be the reasons why they do what they're doing. And probably that's a regular exercise that the Russians have been doing for some time. But now because of the circumstances, it's like, oh, look what the Russians are doing. They've been doing this probably every year, but you didn't hear about it because it was unimportant. It was nothing important there. It was important to see who identifies as what. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.